Or all right. So one of my favorite sources to find suppliers is, or really my favorite, is Google. And for several reasons. One is it's just so easy to search for stuff. You can easily just type in the name of your product with wholesale or private label or manufacturer on the end of it. And more than likely, you're going to find something that works at least for the test phase. Um, and worst case scenario, you can still source from Alibaba or AliExpress and all that, and that's fine too. But Google's my favorite just because it just brings up so many options for you. But guys, my second favorite source to find suppliers by far is trade shows. And a big reason why is number one, I love to travel. And number two is there's tons and tons of wholesale suppliers all in one place. And so we're specifically talking now, what we're going to talk about tonight is will work for trade shows in general. And guys, I don't expect this to go awfully long tonight either, but where ASD is coming up in March, it's March 11th through the 14th. This right here on the left is a picture of ASD, the bottom level of the south up, let's see, it's the south lower hall. And it's this is just full and full and full of vendors. Every wholesale vendor you can imagine. There's a whole other level upstairs that's just as big as this. Then there's a middle section that joins another hall with a bunch more about this size right here. And there's a whole Source Direct site too, where you can source directly from China, Korea, India, Mexico, all kinds of different countries are represented with manufacturers and suppliers. Like direct factories where you can buy directly from the factory. And Abe is our resident expert on all of that. And he's going to talk about Source Direct and how to source directly overseas like that. But there's tons of wholesalers, so it's just very, very efficient. You can find everything that you need all in one place. And it's just a really good use of your time to go to a trade show because you can find everybody all at the same time and just get a lot done in a short amount of time. So that's what we're going to talk about. Here's ASD. This is the picture I showed you down here. It was the south lower hall. And so you got the south upper, you got the whole central section that's full of like apparel and beauty and fragrance. It's not a place I spend a lot of time in, but we can go through it. And then on the north side, you got the gift and home. You got licensed stuff. Souvenir and novelty. There's a whole cash and carry section. Again, I don't spend a lot of time there just because that's more something I think the ladies do. But ASD is huge, guys. You can find about any type of supplier for about any type of niche or product that you're looking for. And what's really cool is if you guys are sitting there thinking, man, I have no desire whatsoever to ever go to a trade show. The cool thing is you don't have to. You can do a lot of this from the comfort of your home, just right there in your pajamas, and source wholesale and source from vendors that are at trade shows. Basically, you just go online to asdonline.com. So here, what if you don't want to go? I have good news for you. You can go to asdonline.com and register for free. They have a totally free site where you can register online. All you need is think your business name. You'll need to tell them what type of business you are. Most people just put retailer that are in this space. And you can get access to all the vendors that are there. It makes it super simple. You can search. Actually, let's just go there. I'm just going to show you exactly what you can do with this. So let me do a new share.
Yeah, guys, I'll tell you, just to jump in here.
Yeah, go for it.
Trade shows are probably leveraging some of the trade show, the access you have to trade shows is one of the best places to find new product, new trends, new product opportunities. Mm-hmm. I'm sure you've noticed if you've done a lot of typical sourcing, reverse engineering Amazon, it's hard to find a product that's not really saturated on Amazon. There's a lot of products just like it. Well, trade shows is going to allow you to discover new trends and new hot products in various industries. ASD is the biggest trade show, so it's really easy to kind of get exposure to a wide variety of niches. But just a little tip, you can go on to Google, like Ryan said, punch in any category. So like just type in any category with the word association next to it, and it'll bring up different trade shows related to different associations in these categories. So you can also kind of use Google to leverage trade shows as well. But ASD is the biggest, one of my favorite ones to go to every year. Ryan, you there? I think we lost Ryan. Is anyone seeing? I think we lost Ryan. Okay, that was confusing. I didn't know if I got lost or if you got lost.
Oh, that was weird.
So I think we stayed on Facebook though, because I'm still seeing it. Did we lost you or did we lose me? I'm not sure on that.
No, it was me. It was so weird. I don't know what happened. I have no clue what happened, but we're still live on Facebook.
Okay. All right. I hope everybody.
We're still in Zoom because everybody else said that they're still. Yeah. Weird. All right. First time that's ever happened.
Right. Yeah, I know. We never lose the host. All right.
All right. So I'm still recording too, so keep going.
I gave a little tip. I hope everybody got that. I was pretty much done there. But yeah, trade shows are awesome. That was kind of the general point I was making.
Good. They are awesome.
Right.
One of my favorite places. And plus I get to hang out with you there, so it's fun.
Yeah, that's always a good time.
Okay, so guys, sorry about that. I have no clue what happened with that. That's so weird.
All right, we're good.
Okay, so I want to share my screen again, or attempt to. All right, that's good.
Yeah. Yeah.
Cool.
Although this site could be a tough one to navigate live. There's so much going on.
Yeah. So guys, I want to show you really quickly here. If you register, get access. You go right here. Buyers register right here. You can go for free, and you never ever have to step foot at ASD, go to Vegas or anything. And so go register there and you'll get access to everything. But I want to show you the vendor directory. So even if you don't register for this and you just somehow you miss it, click on vendor directory right here. And this brings up a list of, let's see, I don't know if that shows you a number right there, 2,029 exhibitors that are exhibiting at ASD this March. That number is probably going to go up because we still have a couple months left for vendors to register and get a booth. But there are so many exhibitors here, and Abe goes through this too. He knows how to do all this. Probably goes farther than I do. But let me just show you. I mean, I can scroll down here and see all of them all on one screen. I'm not going to do that. But let me show you real quickly how you can do the advanced search behind this. Mm-hmm. So you can search by category. So if there's a certain category that you're interested in, let's say that office and school supplies is something that you want to find a vendor for, just click that and click on search. And it brings up a list of 14 that have listed that office and school supply are part of their what they have in their line. Okay, now that's not a lot. You're going to find a lot more in the home and all that. But ASD is humongous. 2,029 exhibitors right here that you have access to. You can search by keywords if you're looking for a certain type of item. Now, this is limited a little bit because, for example, let's say you're looking for a cross jewelry, a cross shape jewelry, and you type that in there. You see a bunch of jewelry companies right here, but just because there might be some that have, and maybe all of them have a piece of jewelry that has a cross shape, but just because you type in cross doesn't mean it's going to show up, because you're limited by what they tell ASD they have. So sometimes like a general merchandise type seller is just going to be it may just say general merchandise and not say that they have, they may have thousands of products in their catalog. There's no way that they can list all of those with ASD, so they'll just say general. Jewelry would be the same way. They would have so many different designs that there's no way that they can say every design that they have. So it's limited by that, but you can test the keywords. So what I did beforehand, I just wanted to give you an idea of how you can use this for private label purposes. You can look through here and look at some of the categories that might make sense to you: value and variety, jewelry, style and beauty. You can look at names and see if any stick out as like, ooh, I want to dig a little bit further with there. Words that stick out to me are like imports, wholesale, distribution, like that one right there. I've been to that booth, so I know kind of what they have, 26 California wholesale. You can also, again, just do the advanced search and do by category. But let me show you one that I looked for in advance. I wanted to find you a couple examples so you guys know how you could sit there at home and do this. This is not going to take very long at all, and then I'll let Abe take over. So one of them I found was 4 Aces Wholesale and Distribution. They are actually over in Dallas. Some of the companies, when you're logged in, will have more. Some of them are just going to be like this, and some won't even have anything. They're just going to say like the city and the state. So I went to 4 Aces Dallas website. And so just to spare you for time, I went here, and they have all kinds of different stuff. You know, candy, drinks. They have a lot of Mexican candy and drinks, and they have grocery and laundry and cleaning. So I went to restaurant supplies just because I thought I might be able to find something there. And I was looking for things that would be easy to figure out what the keyword somebody would search for these. So I found I'm on the 4 Aces site, and I was scrolling through here. Again, you're looking for generic, non-brand driven. You're looking for things that are small. You're looking for things that are simple with not many moving parts. And then the last 2 tests is the demand test and competition test. This is the 5-step test, guys, that we talk about in the lessons. So you can look at a product or a keyword and tell whether it's generic, non-brand driven. Pretty much can. Whether it's small, whether it's under 18 inches, as far as on its longest side, and then whether it is simple without many moving parts. So obviously a steel bowl. Now the large one, I don't know the dimensions of this, but the other 2 I would think would probably be underneath the limits for oversize. Okay, so you would just have to think, how would somebody search for this on Amazon? So on this, I just typed in steel bowl. So here, let me just do so you see here again. So when I start typing in STEELBOW, I see down here that I see right here that Amazon is starting to guess what I'm looking for, and it's telling you, hey, people are searching for steel bowl. All right, so I click on that, and I just look and make sure, yeah, these are all steel bowls. I'm going to run the Jungle Scout with John Paul's extension on the top, the pass-fail, and it shows you that it passes. So real quick, guys, a very quick overview. So for you that maybe have not been on a rabbit trail, have not seen this done live, we have for the demand and competition test, we want to look at the top 10 listings. So all this is doing, guys, on Jungle Scout is giving you a picture of the first page. And it's just showing you the all the listings on the first page of Amazon. To figure out whether there's enough demand, meaning I want to find a product that has enough sales that makes it worth moving forward on. I want to add up all of these numbers here on the sales column. This is an estimated monthly sales figure. So you take 6,485 plus 291 plus 99 plus 9 all the way down to number 10. You want that result to be at least 750 sales in a month. So we're way, way, way over that. We're at 11,775. On the reviews test, this is for competition. We want to see 3 or 4 listings in the top 10 have less than 50 reviews. And so what's cool about this extension that sits on top of Jungle Scout is that it highlights the ones that are less than 50. So this has 3. So this passes the 5-step test, which means it's one that if you wanted to, you could go ahead and find a source for it, order a few, send it in, run ads, and test it for real on Amazon side of things. Okay, so that's a review of that. So this is something you could just go through these websites and look for items and think, okay, I can look for silver spoons. Maybe silver spoons passes. Steel tray round, straws, or all kinds of just generic products that are super easy to source. And these guys are totally going to be okay with you switching out the packaging on this. So that's just one example. And there's 2,000 different companies at ASD that you can go to their sites and do this exact same thing, looking for generic non-brand driven items that are small and that are very simple without many moving parts. You can have a VA do this for you pretty easily. And then just run it back through the demand test and competition test and see if it's worth it. Abe's going to talk about creating a shopping list. So let's say that those steel bowls were something you were really interested in sourcing. Well, you could add this company to your ASD list. They have a show planner where you can put a star next to them, and it'll sort them by booth number. So you can make sure you stop by their booth and make sure you have a list and say, okay, I was on your site earlier. I'm interested in the straws. I'm interested in the steel bowls. Okay. So another one I found just scrolling through the ASD list. I didn't go too far because I didn't want to take up too much of your time, guys. I think you understand what we're doing here. Is I went to and found ABC Trading. I like the words trading. Just kind of tells me that it's going to be a company that probably sources from overseas. They're already doing that work. they're going to be totally okay with the easy way method of switching out packaging. So I went to, I went right here. So when I clicked on ASD's ABC trading listing, there's nothing there at all. Now, if I'm logged in, maybe it would work, but all I had to do was just copy this, paste it into Google, and it came up with their website. And guys, wholesale websites are horrendous. This is a perfect example of a true wholesale site because there's not, I don't see pricing. It's just a really, really bad website. The Four Aces one's not a whole lot better. And there's no pricing on there either. You have to log in. So that gives you a clue that you're at a true wholesale company site. So for ABC Trading, I just looked up here and thought, okay, what are some ones that I might be interested in searching a little bit further? The first one I found, I saw bandanas. And so I thought, okay, let's look at bandanas. I didn't do bandana just in general. I thought that was probably going to be too competitive. But I typed in navy bandana for this one right here. And let's just do that real quick. And Amazon, as soon as I start typing in BAN, Amazon's suggesting bandana for me. All right, and just run the jungle. So you can do this with Scope. Scope is completely free. And John Paul actually has an extension on top of Scope now that's available. Let's see here. Maybe bandana. Well, that's interesting. It changed because it was earlier today. It passed by a little bit. So it must have one more listing out of there that's not in the top 10. So right now it's showing that there's only 2 out of 10 with less than 50 reviews. So right now this wouldn't pass, but you guys get the idea of this is reverse sourcing. This is what we talk about in the lessons. The other thing that caught my eye was umbrellas. So I thought these might be big, but then they have these small ones for kids. Hopefully, and I would think they might have some that kind of compact down so they definitely wouldn't be oversized. And I didn't go too deep on this. I just wanted to show you how to do this. So kids, umbrella. All right, so again, we got plenty of demand here, 5,280 sales among the top 10. And then on the side on the reviews for competition, we want to see 3 or 4 with less than 50. And there are actually 3, it looks like 21, a 28, and a 20. So totally passes. So you could go to that company and say, hey, we're interested in testing out the kids' umbrellas, buy a few, send them in to test. So guys, that's basically my method. It's not super hard. It could be time consuming if you're going to do this all yourself, but you can hire somebody out to do this. You want to do a little bit of research in advance for ASD. You don't have to do as extensive as what I even did here. You'll be able to walking down through the rows and stuff will catch your eye and just start talking to vendors. Really, that's kind of the best training. So Abe, that's kind of all I had for my section.
Yeah, I can give a few little tips, and then we can talk about
some
more. All right, so I'll share my screen here. Okay, desktop 1. Okay, so I kind of pirated some slides from past presentations there. Let me move this around. Present. Okay. So ASD Mining is a show we've done in the past, and you can see there's someone right there in that picture you might recognize, right, Christy? So we're out in front of, this is us out in front of Source Direct, which is where I spend a lot of my time sourcing, because it's direct from Chinese, many different countries represented there, Pakistan, India, Mexico, Taiwan, there's a whole bunch represented in this area, and it gets bigger and bigger and bigger every year. So I remember the first ASD I went to, it was a fraction of the size. Now it's huge, but it allows us to get an opportunity to get kind of direct sourcing from overseas manufacturers where we can get the best prices, right? And you're able to have a lot more flexibility in negotiations as far as minimum order quantity and price. When you're face-to-face with them, you can start building those relationships, which in the end is the goal, right? So there's a few different goals we want to do so we want to do a few different techniques sourcing products. One is through vendors that are there, right? Sourcing through the inventory, like Ryan just kind of mentioned. And here's a shot of the actual vendor list that we start to build out. As you can see, there is, these are all companies that we've actually called, and they do private label, and we've talked to them and established accounts and that whole thing. So we would start building out a list like this. And actually, there's a much larger list that we build out, but this gives you about 10 here. Second is you want to be able to leverage the ASD gives you a lot of features, right? So as you're going through building out lists, you want to make note of where these booths are and who these vendors are. So when you go through and you start to identify these private label friendly wholesalers and vendors, especially the Source Direct. When you go into Source Direct, everyone's private label friendly. They just, that's why I like going there, right? Here's a couple of screenshots of the app you can download. So you can go into the ASD Online that Ryan showed you, and you can get access and download the app from the Play Store or whatever. But so what you can do is from the vendor list online, you can star the vendors that you would like to contact, and it automatically sends them to your app. So you just click on new vendors. You can click on your vendors, and they get starred here, and you can track them as you're walking through the show. So here's another. It also shows specials and events that go around, because I'll tell you, probably the main goal of ASD for us is the networking, right? Yeah. The number of sellers that are there, influencers, business services, manufacturers. A lot of our people we do business with, like sourcing team and logistics team, they're all at ASD. So we can kind of go there to socialize and meet them face to face, and you really can't beat those types of relationships when you meet someone face to face in a place like Las Vegas and you see them outside of email and phone calls, and you get to really just connect with them on a personal level. There really is nothing better than that in business than to build relationships like that. Okay, so so the other thing we do is we go around and build a shopping list. Now here's an old list from a few shows ago. I don't know if any of these products are still good, but this is a big list that we put together, and I bundle options and keywords and this sort of thing, where we basically would reverse engineer Amazon, like you see Ryan do the rabbit trail method, or if you go through software tools, and we just build a list of niche products that we see that are good selling opportunities on Amazon, and we take this big list to the show and begin to walk around and try and source these products, right? But you can build this list before the show, go into the vendor list, look for these products, right? So this list becomes, pre-sourcing the show, and then you can make contact with vendors so that you can set up accounts, or you could also, look for these as like products of opportunity while you're at the show walking around, right? So we build like a shopping list when we go there, pretty much. So you'll see opportunities for product leads while you're at the show too. So you'll sometimes be walking around, you'll see a crowd over at a booth, and you're like, whoa, what's this? Right. You walk in there, and it's like a new trending product you haven't seen before. You don't know what it is, but this wholesaler has it, right? So you want to go ahead and go onto Amazon and start to research these products. Also, you'll get wholesale catalogs. Now, I'm not one that carries around big chunky bags of wholesale stuff. I carry a little notebook in my back pocket and make notes, and clip the cards to it, and that's good for me. Because I'm not going to buy anything there. I guess you could. A lot of people do. I know my friend Nathan Bailey, he places tons of orders at the show, but I don't. So what I do is I just take notes and go back and research at home, and then I go to find that product, not necessarily from that manufacturer, but where can I get that product for the cheapest anywhere in the world, right? You'll be able to see general types of products and vendors to sell. So you want to be able to research these products on the fly at the show. So there's a number of tools that you can use on your phone at the show, right? So like, for example, the Amazon mobile app, right? You can use Merchant Words, which is a keyword research tool. You can use Scopes web app, which isn't in this slide, but you can use that. Anything with a web app, right? You can also use Viral Launch Market Intelligence, which is my favorite marketing scanning tool, and you can use that at the show. And here's just 4 screenshots of those different apps, right? So, Ryan brought up, restaurant tool things, right? So I just did a keyword search for waitress, and I'm able to pull up, a few products in the waitress niche here on Amazon. You can kind of look and see the results, type in the keywords for merchant words, see the type of search volume for that product, and of course, look at the idea, the opportunity as far as all the market analytics you would want to scan.
Mm-hmm.
But you can do this at the show in front of a booth. You see a product, and within 5 minutes, you can have some actual numbers, some actual research done on these product opportunities you see at ASD. So that's super valuable. I love, make sure you have a backup battery for your phone, and you can leverage that.
Very true.
Okay, so here's the other thing I want to say about ASD is it doesn't end with products, right? So you can actually leverage the knowledge you have about selling on Amazon and bring value to vendors. So this would be like the product partnering type end, right? So this is something we do too, because you'll go in, you'll talk to a vendor, and guess what? He sells on Amazon, right? So he may not be so inclined as to like sell you his product so you can sell it on Amazon. Of course, they sometimes do that. But what you can do is then, a lot of times I'll just start asking the questions about their business, right? And I'll start telling them the way that I sell products on Amazon, and how I do keyword research, and I look for gaps in the marketplace and get products to sell and listings and optimizing for mobile and all these things that make their head spin because they don't really know what you're talking about. But they eventually they're like, hey, well, how can we work together? And you can start building a relationship to where maybe you would do something on a consultant basis, right? So this is a huge, this is definitely, here's an email where I talked to somebody, and that was the exact conversation we had. And he was like, well, I sell this product on Amazon. So, and I just started talking to him about how we sell products and position them. And while I was talking to him, I looked on my phone, pulled his product up on Amazon, and I said, this is your product. I said, well, I can tell you right now, you're only selling, a couple of these a day, if that. And I said, there's a lot of things you can do right now. Like, for one, I can see you're not optimized for mobile because I'm on a mobile phone. I showed him and gave him some tips. And he was just like, whoa, I never even thought of that. So we had this conversation, and then, turned into a relationship where I was actually able to consult for this. And he contacted me about this email is a week later, and says, pleasure meeting you and Christy at the ASD show and discussing future business opportunities. I thought what we had to offer was very interesting, and your way of avoiding competition online, it's a really great concept. Whatever, he attached spreadsheets of his products and everything, asked me to consult for him and give him a ton of, feedback as far as improving his listings, and we ended up working together. And, I still talk to this person today. So this was, it was probably a year ago that this happened. So the other thing too is that, and I don't want to take too long, Ryan, I'm not really paying.
This is interesting stuff.
Okay. So the other thing that is probably being a coach, right? Jim Cockrum Coaching. I work with a lot of, there's probably about 100 students under the private label umbrella. So I get to work with a lot of people and deal with a lot of sourcing in China for manufacturers and sending emails. So the thing is understanding how that whole system in China works, right? And what you understand in China is that certain products are manufactured in certain areas of the country, right? So there is, like, if you go onto Alibaba, for the most part, Alibaba has retail prices by Chinese standards, right? So you're not getting the best prices, and the majority of them are trading companies that are just basically reselling a manufacturer's product over and over and over again, right? So what the difficult part is to identify who is an actual manufacturer, because that's where you're going to get the lowest price. You may be paying double from a broker or a trading company instead of going direct to the manufacturer. So there are trading companies and manufacturers at ASD, but you can stand in front of them and say, are you the actual manufacturer? And they'll say, yes, we are the manufacturer, we have the factory and all this stuff. So you can kind of get direct behind the scenes access to manufacturers, So this is just a little map that I usually use when identifying, products. When I'm looking for manufacturers, I go and, it's important to get the address of the company you're researching,
Mm-hmm.
and make sure that the area that they are from lines up with the type of product they manufacture,
Mm.
right? So I believe I got, I'm not sure where I got this map, but I can share the slide or whatever.
Okay.
But, you can Google like industrial, map of like I think this might have been from, I don't know, madeinchina.com or something is where
So
I
you're
got this
basically
map.
saying, like, for example, at the very, very top there, that can't even pronounce it, but the linen products, very, very top one. So let's say that you're looking for linen products and the company's in Shanghai. Would that give you a clue that you might be dealing with a middleman and not going right to the source, and therefore not getting the best price?
Yes, I mean, so if you see like they're located in a place like, so like some of the big ports like Ningbo,
Mm-hmm.
where probably a lot of trading companies are located,
Uh-huh.
right? But if they're in that, if they claim to be selling, I don't know, concrete product
Uh-huh.
or steel or something like that, right? And they're in like a port that usually sells like, clothing and shoes. I mean, it
Okay.
kind of is a red flag, right?
Okay.
Because the same areas and provinces in China sell the same products. Just kind of how the country's structured.
Interesting.
So let me just
If I need a crane, I know where to go now. Looks like.
yeah. So I'm just gonna pull this up. Told you butchering a number of different slide
Oh, okay,
projects
that's
here.
fine.
All right. So now I'm just gonna give you a couple of quick tips how I would do this on Alibaba, right? Because it's frustrating, and I'm gonna. That's why Source Direct is so great, because you can fast track all of this, right?
Yeah.
Instead of going to Alibaba and guessing all the ways to discover a manufacturer with all these little ninja tricks and trying to peek behind the curtain any way you can, sending a bunch of different emails. It's much easier just to face
Mm-hmm.
start building that relationship and just move forward, right? So this is an actual product I found at ASD last year. It was magnetic blocks, and these were huge at Q4. I mean, crazy. These sold like crazy all over the place. So, but this is, how I would go by kind of discovering a manufacturer on Alibaba was, you could click on the supplier types, was trade assurance, gold supplier, assessed supplier, and just additional layers of validation for that.
Mm-hmm.
And then, you can, okay, so we're going to go and click on the supplier, right? And we want to see where they're located. So I always click on mainland China. There's another filter you can put in there.
Mm-hmm.
And we see that this one says manufacturer and trading company, which is true because a lot of manufacturers also source other products for people as well. But we see that the total employees here is 11 to 50. That usually and I got this tip from Hong Kong Trade and Development Council, which is a company that has a booth at ASD. Ryan was with me when we met
Yeah.
them. And the tip she gave me was that look for the number of employees a manufacturer has. The lower the number of employees, the more chances are they're a trading company.
Yep.
Higher employees, more chances are they're an established manufacturer, right? And also in China, manufacturer could mean like garage operation or multi-million-dollar warehouse, right?
Okay.
So even if they say manufacturer, you don't really know, how big they actually are. So the employee tip was a good tip, So here's another manufacturer, right? And this one says 300 to 500 people verified,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Guangdong, China, mainland, right? We saw that on our map. This is like southern China. So this is a good indication that this company is a larger company, more of a manufacturer, right? Just giving a few quick tips of how you can quickly vet some of these suppliers. So this is the other site, hktdc.com. These are vetted manufacturers with the Chinese government. We have a rep from here, and I get on their email list, and you can get, you can submit what type of products you sell, and they'll send you emails and things like that. It's just another site that you could search, and I mostly will plug in a company name, like the company name I just showed a second ago. I plug them in here, and it does show that they're listed on here, which means they're pre-vetted by the Chinese government. It's just another way that you can kind of check things out. So that's hktdc.com. So and then the other company I plugged in here had no results, right? So it doesn't, there are a lot of companies that aren't on this website, but I just like for an additional layer to check things out, see if they're backed by the government. Okay, so oops, I'm going backwards, aren't I? Okay, so I'm getting a little ahead of myself here. I didn't want to get into but the other thing you can do in China, obviously, is to leverage a sourcing agent, right? You would, it's like a VA on the ground in China, speaks the language, vets the suppliers, can test product samples, and you can order from local Chinese websites, to do some test products. We've done that where we've had our sourcing agent order from 1688 at like a 30 unit quantity, send it to Amazon. And it's a way to kind of test items overseas as well. And they can also negotiate pricing and minimum order quantities on your behalf, right? But the way you can do all that, and that's fine. Or the easy way to do it is go to China, hit Source Direct. I mean, I'm sorry, go to China, right? Go to ASD. It's like China coming to you, isn't it?
It is.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you go to ASD, Source Direct, and you can shake hands face to face with manufacturers, and it's just a way to fast track all this, right? There's plenty of product opportunities there. Even if you make a shopping list and don't find one, there are products there that will work. And we've gotten some insane prices from, and I've walked up to someone, what's the minimum? Oh, 2,000. I'm like, yeah, I don't think so. So no, but you say it in a nice way, of course.
Right.
And I like the tip from Sean Hart gave. It's like, hey, company policy. Hey, I'm just a buying manager. Company policy says I can only order 500 to test, but guess what? In 3 months, we'll meet your minimum. 6 months, we're going to double that. You give them like a timeline to, let them know you're establishing a relationship. But since you're face to face with them, that relationship's already started. You tell them a little bit about your business, what you do, what you sell, and it just starts things off on the right foot.
Yep.
So that's about all I have for slides here.
Cool. All right.
Am I losing anybody? We got any questions? How's everybody doing?
I've answered a couple questions. Michael is asking, where's a good place to find a sourcing agent?
Upwork is a great way to do that.
Okay.
But if you don't want to get ahead of myself, but if you meet me at ASD, I'll show you mine because he's gonna have a booth there.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you're gonna introduce everybody to yours, aren't you?
Yes, I am. That's for sure.
Cool. Yes, it is, Pavel. Sourcing agents make a big difference. So, guys, we have a couple different ways of going about this. I kind of show the easy way, starting with wholesalers, and Abe still does that once in a while. Started there for sure, but then he does so much validation on the front end that he is confident that he's okay ordering 500 to start with. You guys are just getting started on private label. I would say, don't spend that much money on something that's not proven yet. But once you've done it as many times as Abe has, and it's not like he's been doing this for years and years and years. How long have you been doing private label?
June 2016.
Yeah, so guys, that's a year and a half. So it's not like he's way ahead of you. And so we just want to present two different sides that no matter where you are in the process, trade shows can be a great place for you to find suppliers, whether it's going straight to the source using Source Direct, that Abe was going to have a walkthrough on that, and then or if it's starting from a wholesale company. And the reason we start with wholesale companies, or we teach that here, is because you can start very small. You can order a case of an item. So you're not going to go to a company at Source Direct that's a factory from China and say, I want to order 12. They're just going to laugh at you. But a wholesale company, totally cool with that. And so we have both ranges. So no matter where you are, we got you covered. So I want to show you really quickly here, and we'll wrap this up. So guys, ASD is huge. We just showed you how big it is, 2,029 different exhibitors that are there. And so we really feel like, and we've learned, that having a tour guide can make a huge difference. In fact, Denise, you were just saying that when you went, you would have, it was overwhelming. ASD is very overwhelming. It's so true. You walk in and your mouth just drops because you're like, what do I do? Where do I start? So it's just like if you're going into a new city, or a place you've never been, a lot of times people that want to kind of get a lay of the land, you partner up with a tour company, you go on a tour or whatever like that. And so we're offering the same thing for ASD. I've done this. This will be the 4th time that I've done this. And Abe is going to do it as well this time. He's basically done it before, just as not officially. And so let me show you what we got going on. You guys can join us with if you're interested in. So here's our team. It's I'm obviously there. Abe's over here, and then these 2 guys you've probably seen in the group. But let me introduce them to you. This is Stephen Hibbert. He is just becoming one of our good friends. He's been in the group for a while now. He was actually the winner of the auction that I had for my brother-in-law and sister-in-law run an orphanage in Guatemala. And so he was the auction winner, one of the auction winners for that. He flew up to Texas. He and his wife did that and had lunch with me. We spent 3 hours, just got to know Stephen really well. He's part of our leadership team now. And he went to ASD with me last August. I trained him personally. And the guys, the reason I'm bringing Stephen and Gary on, Gary is Jenny Hunt's dad. Jenny's obviously my partner with Private Label, this mentoring program. They were both at ASD in August. Abe has talked to both of them many times. And so the reason I'm bringing them on is because I'm only one guy. I can only do so much. Every single time I do this walkthrough, I have to turn people away, and I'm tired of doing that. So what I'm doing now is bringing on Gary and Stephen to help me out. And to just multiply our efforts and make sure that we can handle everybody that wants to go on a walkthrough, because they're so super powerful. You'll see the testimonials here in a second. But Stephen and Gary are both personally trained by me, and I'm very confident that they can handle any trade show anywhere, because it's not that hard, guys. It's just kind of getting a lay of the land. They've been to ASD before. They'll help it make it not so overwhelming, but they know what to ask. They know how to talk to a vendor. And so they're going to be helping me. So again, Stephen Hibbert and Gary Rosing, that's Jenny's dad there, are going to be helping me out at ASD to do the walkthrough. So let me tell you about what you get if you decide to go on a walkthrough. ASD, again, is March 11th through the 14th. It's a Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. The tours are going to be on Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday. Abe is doing a tour of Source Direct on Monday and Tuesday. So let me show you. Let's go into this here. So there's 7 hours in a small group training environment. We're going to go from about 9 till 4. So you get pretty much one-on-one attention. It's pretty cool, and we have a lot of fun. We just walk around and have a good time. But what you're going to also gain from this, guys, is confidence to know how to approach vendors for future events. So walking into any trade show, you're going to know exactly what to say and how to handle yourself. We're going to have a networking lunch. We did this last year. It was just wildly popular, just a very informal, just get to know you guys type of lunch. That's included in this. Abe and Christy came over at all of them and hung out with us, and that was fun. You're going to have a list of all the vetted suppliers of everybody that we talk to, so you get a list of those during the time that we're there. So, Abe, why don't you explain these videos and these few things that are coming up here on this slide?
Yeah, absolutely. So, last 2 shows, we've done an event called ASD Mining, right? So it's basically how we attack the trade show, how we build a vendor list, how we go through. How we build a shopping list, how we go through the vendor list to identify private label friendly suppliers and go through their inventory. Also, different ways we approach the show. And so what we did was the last one we did 5 webinars, so a 5-week webinar series where we walked through everything. I mean, so we went through how to do marketing keyword research before the show to build your shopping list, right? We talked about, I have like a 30-minute tutorial of walking through the ASD vendor list and how to kind of manipulate that and source products through that. We also talk about sourcing the trade show when you're walking through, seeing products of opportunity, how to negotiate with suppliers. We have a whole webinar in there, an hour-long, how to prep for the show, how to get ready for the show, get everything lined up and everything like that. And we also have some what to do after the show, how to follow up with vendors. I mean, I know I'm missing things because we talk about, we're talking like 5-6 hours of content with,
right.
email templates and how to contact them, what to say, how to follow up after, what to say, email templates on that.
Yep, that's part of some of the things are there.
Yeah, how to research keywords and develop your product and make customizations and all this stuff. And we walk through so much content. It's crazy. So to do that again, so like this year when ASD came up, to do that again, we didn't feel. I mean, we could always update the content, right? And we could always like, okay, I might have changed this tactic over here, or I may use a different spreadsheet or something, right? But there's literally no way we could top the general content that we put out. So this year, instead of redoing the ASD mining training all over again, we decided to just cut the price, by a ton and offer it with the walkthroughs and make it available to everybody. So that's about. Did I miss anything? That about sums it up, right?
You got additional supplier leads. A whole other. There's a list of a couple thousand private label friendly suppliers.
Yeah, so I have 720 something.
720, that's right.
Yeah, so I've just a list we've built for a couple of years now, just a running list of, some probably won't be at the show. They could not be back there, but there is still. It's got our VAs have gone through and added links to every single one of their websites if they're available. So out of 720, I mean, anyone who can go through that entire list and contact them all, I salute you. Trust me. But there's enough there to keep you occupied for a very long time. But that's our supplier list, and there's a lot of email templates. There's just a lot of stuff. I mean, I couldn't even remember everything that we have available with that. So,
Okay. So we got your listing template.
Yeah, my listing template, and I'll probably up that a little bit and add my total data mining template that I have. Listing template's a part of it. So I could probably, so what I'll do is I'll just make sure to do that. And I'm going to have to create a couple of bonus videos too. I'm just going to have to go throw it out there because, there's if I give you the data mining template, I'll do a little bonus for you of walking through and showing how I fill that out. So, what else? What else you got there?
So we got, then we got the pre-ASD rabbit trail webinar. So cool. This is not something I did last year, I don't think, but it was really, really cool because we were walking around in August and I saw some products that were on the last rabbit trail webinar that we did. And rabbit trail, if you haven't been on one, Jenny and I just go on there and we show you how to use free tools like Amazon search bar and tools like Scope to find products really, really quickly. And we found some at ASD. And so there were several that were in that rabbit trail webinar. And so I pointed out, hey guys, that was on the webinar. So I'm actually going to do one specific to the people that are going, and only for the people that are going on the walkthroughs, so that you have items. Essentially, you could start building the shopping list that Abe is talking about. So this will be like your shopping list webinar, to kind of done for you. It'll show you how to quickly find some products that you can actually be looking for at ASD. And if you want to take it a step further, you could actually go into ASD site and start looking for some of those suppliers that might sell those products. And then the last thing I have on here is a pre-ASD prep webinar. So like, what do you bring? How do you dress? All that kind of stuff will be covered there. Where are we going to meet? Just kind of general stuff about trade shows in general. And Abe might be on that one too if he wants to be. So
sure, I'm always good. I'm always good for a webinar party. Let's do it.
I'm answering a question here. Abe, do your materials work with traditional private label the easy way?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, that's kind of, that's where I come from. My kind of what I started doing was I don't know how long ago it was when I first got into your group, but it was a couple of years ago. And that's what I started doing in the beginning. So yeah, of course it absolutely does. We look at it like the big picture, right? Where the opportunities lie and where do we find those products, right? Wherever you get them, as long as those margins work, it's great. I don't use there's no barriers for me as far as borders, right? I mean, obviously there are some things that would hesitate, but if it's in the US, if it's in China, as long as the margins work for me, I'm going to go ahead and source that product, you know?
Yep.
So we talk about like the core numbers, building the foundation for what's a good opportunity, and we walk through that.
Cool. Yeah, guys, I'm getting questions about how many are in the group. So there's going to be 8 to 9 people, no more than that per group. I'd like to keep it small. I found out that that's just a kind of my sweet spot as far as a number to be able to give everybody adequate attention. And so we're 8 to 9 is what I'm doing there.
Yeah. For the walkthroughs, it is tough to bring any more than 8, 9 people, 10 people, whatever, because you clog up the aisles and
right.
The vendors just end up getting mad at you if you bring 30 people in.
Exactly.
So you got to keep the walkthrough small for sure. But
guys, here's a link where you can sign up. I'll go over the sales page here in just a second and show you what the cost is, what the investment is. But everything you guys would need to win at ASD and be able to tackle any future trade show for private label is what you'll get access to. The site is privatelabeltheeasyway.com/ASD Easyway. And let me just share my screen. Let me go over this real quick because there's like 4 different options on the page. Let's see here. Okay. Make sure which one I'm sharing here. Okay, can you see the ASD page? Is that what's showing?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So guys, here's the sales page. It's privatelabeltheeasyway.com/ASD Easyway. And there's just some of the benefits you get, but here's exactly everything that we just went through that's included in this. The 7 hours and a small group training. We're going to go from about 9 to 4. We get lunch. Abe's the whole ASD mining videos, the templates, the leads, the listing template, the pre-ASD webinar, the pre-ASD prep webinar. Here's our team. And so the way this is going to work here, or here's what past attendees have said. I've done this. This will be my 4th time now. So here's the different options. So guys, on Sunday, March 11th, is the one that I'm going to be doing it just me. I'll probably have Steven and Gary with me on Sunday. I will take 8 people on Sunday, March the 11th. All right. And there's $597 for that for me. Okay. And then over here on the right-hand side is the general ASD walkthrough with Steven or Gary. Got Ryan certified there because they are totally certified. They can do every single thing that I can do. They just may not be as well known. So $100 less for them. No offense to them, but just to make sure you guys know that we're at it. It's a crazy good deal, but just so you know, they're a little bit less to go with them. So you feel good about having somebody that you may not be aware of, but you're going to love them. They're awesome. So super well trained, have all the confidence in the world in them. So for them, you have 2 options on Monday or Tuesday. Okay. Pick either Monday or Tuesday for them. And then here's the Source Direct walkthrough with Abe. He's doing Monday and Tuesday. So pick one date there. And then his is $597. And then here's for you guys that aren't able to go to ASD, you can get the whole video template and list package. So the ASD mining, the webinars, all the listing templates, the email templates, the supplier leads, and then those videos. $97 if you just want access to that and you aren't able to go to ASD. But all these other ones get access to all that, no extra charge.
Yeah.
So guys, there are limited spots. We're only going to take 8 each time, so that makes it so that there's just not very many people that can get in. But I've expanded the team to hopefully take care of everybody that is going to ASD, because I don't want anybody being left out. So that's why I've added Steven and Gary to the team. So again, there's what you get. There's the sales page if you're interested. Let me put the link in the chat here. And then we'll take any questions that we have, and after that, we'll let you guys go. All right, so we got some questions about, Audrey asked about when should you get flights. If you know you're going to come, Audrey, you get them right away. I would. When you sign up for ASD, they have a link to sign up for a hotel. They have a hotel discount, essentially. If you sign up on the ASD online site after you register, there's a link to their hotel portal, essentially, and you get discounts. I usually stay at the Westgate just because it's super close. It's right next door. I've also stayed across the street at like the Radisson or the Courtyard by Marriott, I think is what it is. What's cool about that is there's not a casino that you have to walk through. So those aren't too bad. Let's see what else we got here. Mike, there is not a limit on the videos that are available. Not a limit there. So each anonymous, you're asking 8. So each trainer will have 8 people at a time. Sylvia, how many days do you suggest to attend ASD? At least 2, for sure. It's so huge. You can spend all every day there, but then it gets to be too many. Abe, what do you think about that? How many days would you suggest somebody that's never been?
I would say for sure at least 2 days. In the past, I've gone for, what is it? Is it 4? I think it's Sunday, Monday, Tuesday,
Wednesday. Yeah.
Wednesday, yeah. So I mean, I've gone for all 4 days. In the beginning, when I first went, this is actually my 5th. This will be my 5th show. But usually, with the method we use where we kind of plan ahead, you could probably shrink that time down a little bit. And just plan ahead, make appointments, and visit who you want to visit. I'll tell you though, like I said, the value is in the networking, right? So various days during the week, there are events to go to. There are, people have parties. E-com parties. We're not like crazy,
right?
But there's all kinds of like cool events to go to, and you'll meet up with people and I mean, that's where I see the greatest value in the show for sure. I mean, other than sourcing products, of course, but it's the relationship building that happens. So.
Sumon's asking, so if you're just starting out in private label, would you advise going to ASD in March or the one in August? Golly.
March is much bigger.
I would go to March for that reason, because it is a bigger show. There's more vendors. Yep.
More vendors, a lot more going on. I went... I went in last July, and it was a small show. There's about 1,000 less vendors there than there are in March. The show's probably about half the size. So the real big one is March, and there's just a lot more going on. And plus, July is extremely hot. It was like 105 degrees. It's probably 90 in March, which isn't too bad.
Laura Lee, ASD has a lot of events on their site. Just go to asdonline.com. Robin Johnson actually also advertises too, doesn't she?
Yeah, she has. She has get-togethers in her suite that she has. We usually go to Robin's too, and there are a number. I know Andy Slamans has a big thing going on out there, and there's a number. I could probably name 10. I can never get to all of them. So, but there are a lot of events. A lot of influencers in the trade have events or things going on out there. Plus, ASD has their own events. They have the big party. They have the vendor party. Then they also have the general market week party at a certain club or whatever. So, there's a lot to do for sure.
Carolyn wants to know how much for a walkthrough with Jenny. Yeah, Jenny's too expensive. So actually, I don't know if she's coming or not. I don't know that she's going to make it this time.
Well, I'm pretty sure that Christy's going to be out there as well.
Oh, cool.
So, I'm pretty sure, 90% sure.
Cool. She might. You guys might get a bonus of Christy being on one of the walkthroughs. Then. She usually hangs out with Abe a lot because they do some stuff together. So
yeah, she'll be handling a lot of the business stuff, but will join us, I'm sure.
Yep. Let's see. Susan, you asked about any other luck with trade shows such as the Housewares shows in Chicago. I've never been to the Housewares shows in Chicago, but I know it'd probably be similar to the Dallas one, the Dallas Home and Gift Market, and so I've done that many, many times. Yes, that you can do well there. The one in Dallas specifically, I don't know how Chicago is set up, but the ones here anyway, the temporary exhibits are the ones where you're going to have the best reception for switching out packaging when you ask the magic question, because they're they're mom and pop companies. A lot of the showrooms that are there all the time are big, huge brands like OXO, for example. I mean, they're not going to want you to take out an OXO apple slicer and put it in your own packaging because it's going to be stamped with their logo on it. But I would try it. I would look ahead. I would look and see what vendors are going to be there first and decide. Abe, any other shows that you would recommend attending?
Oh man. Well, there's like the Toy Fair that just happened, right, in New York.
Uh-huh.
Philly Gift Show is another big one. And there's I know Adrian Friday's on there. What's that one you go to in Atlanta? I think it's like the like American Made Show or something.
There's America Mart, or is it?
America Mart. That's it. Yeah.
That's like the Dallas.
He raves about that one. So.
Michael, the California Marketplace show. Yeah, just look at the vendors and look and see. So basically, guys, what I would do is if you were looking at a certain trade show, look and see if they have vendors that have generic, non-brand driven type products. Mm-hmm. If you're going to a shoe show, for example, and it's Nike and Adidas, well, that's not going to be a fit for you. But if you go on their site and you see a lot of things that just are generic, non-brand driven, that are small, that are simple with not many moving parts, that could be a great place for you to go. Feel free to, I got the link there. I'll look at that later and give you an opinion on that.
There's also another Source Direct show in New York in February.
Oh, okay.
You could just Google it. Adrian says America's Market Week. Okay, that's the one I was thinking of. But I'll tell you, the niche shows are the best. I just went to an automotive show in Boston. Uh-huh. Super small niche show, but there's a lot of cool new products coming up. Especially a lot of products coming up for like the new electric cars. Everything's kind of headed that way.
Oh, cool.
Automated cars and things like that. So we're looking for the future of like accessories in that sort of market, trying to stay ahead of the curve. When you can go to those niche shows, I mean, you can find out, what's coming out 6 months, a year from now, and be ready with, complementary products to go, when that happens.
That's awesome. Suman, you asked how to find other shows if you can't attend ASD in March. So the tsnn.com is a site that has a bunch of trade shows listed all over the country. So
that's a good tip.
tsnn.com. So, guys, that's how do you find them? Go to sites like this, Denise, tsnn.com, or any other trade show directory site. I just Googled trade show directory, and I knew that was the one I was looking for, but there's plenty of others on here. Looks like there's one called Expo Database, trade shows in the USA. I'll post that link here too for you guys. So, cool. Guys, that's all I got. If there's any other questions, feel free to continue to ask questions in the Facebook group. We will be we'll be there. I'll be looking afterwards and see if there's anything that I need to answer. But hopefully I was giving you some valuable information. But if you're interested in going to ASD, this is something that is a fit for your business. We'd love to have you join us. This will fill up. We have limited spots. So feel free to grab your spot right away if you know that this is something you're going to be doing anyway. So, Abe, any parting thoughts?
No, actually, I'd love to see you guys at ASD if you are going to make it out there. And if you aren't, we always say that, you don't have to be at ASD to leverage the trade show,
right,
which is why we've done the ASD mining training. So if you can't be there, check out the videos. There's a ton of content there. It goes way above and beyond the show. So I hope to see you guys on the other side for sure.
Awesome. Thanks, guys. Thanks, Abe. Thanks for being on with me, buddy.
Of course, man. Anytime.
Appreciate it. Talk to you guys later.
Thanks everyone.
All right.
Take care.
Bye.